What is up, guys? We are back. It's your boy Effie with Any Action Sportscast, here to go over UFC Vegas 94, Durden Jandiroba versus Amanda Lemos. We're coming off another losing week, guys, where we lost 0.35 units at UFC Denver, making it 4 straight losing cards in a row. The last 3 all less than 1 unit, man. We lost $15 last week, which isn't a lot. But man, all these small paper cut losses are adding up, man. We're down 20 units on the year. A fifth of our bankroll is gone. That's $800 for us. So we are in desperation mode. We need to win money on this UFC event this Saturday. And it's going to be tough, man, because a lot of these fights this week are close, man. I feel like if you are an underdog bettor, this is the week for you. If you like to bet parlays on money lines, good luck, man, because a lot of these fights can go either way. A ton of live underdogs. But in my opinion, a lot of exciting fights, man. That Steve Garcia fight should absolutely be exciting. Looking forward to some of these fights, but next week we have a pay-per-view, and after that we have a very good fight night card. So this card isn't the best, but the next 2 are absolute bangers. So we got to find our way to make money on this card. So without any further ado, let's get right into the fights. And in the first fight of the night, we have a heavyweight fight between Mohammed, Usman, and Thomas Petersen. Usman comes in as the favorite with an 11-3 record, currently minus 135 on the money line, while Thomas Petersen comes in looking for his first UFC win with an 8-2 record, currently plus 115. I'll start with Mohammed Usman right away, guys. The favorite, the left side of your screen right here. And I'll be honest, guys, I've never been high on Mohammed Usman. I just don't think he's that good. And one thing I gotta say is that he's 35 years old, which I'll be honest, isn't crazy old for the heavyweight division. It's not like a crazy red flag or anything. But for me, it's more so the fact that he's 35 years old. And at this point, I feel like he's a finished product. I feel like we all know what we're gonna get from Mohammed Usman at this point. And that's a guy that at the heavyweight division in the UFC doesn't seem to have crazy knockout power. Yes, I understand he won the Ultimate Fighter via knockout against Zach Plaga, but Zach Plaga is a light heavyweight, for one, a weight class below, with a bad chin. So the guy is way smaller, and he was winning that fight before Mohammed Usman knocked him out. Mohammed Usman tends to go to the decision all 15, more so in his fights, which is actually kind of rare for the heavyweight division. But it's not like he has a lot of output. That's the one thing I really don't like about Usman, is that, for one, that he's related to Kamaru. Kamaru Usman's his brother, the former champ, and he doesn't offensively wrestle. So that's not good. And then the fact that he doesn't have a lot of output on the feet isn't that good. And then add the fact that he doesn't really have that one-touch crazy knockout power. It's just kind of like, he's an average guy, like he's not a bad fighter or anything, but it's just a lot of clinching in his fights, a lot of cage pushing in his fights, and a lot of staring, a lot of feinting, a lot of overhand rights that miss by a mile. He's not the best fighter, but he's getting another favorable matchup in this fight against someone like Thomas Petersen, who still doesn't have a UFC win in his career. Thomas Petersen, won on Dana White Contender Series, then he lost his UFC debut in his last fight against Jamal Pogues. And he's a former collegiate wrestler, but you wouldn't be able to tell if you watched his last fight, man. In his last fight, he didn't look the best, guys. I'll be honest. And it's very rare for me to see someone look bad in their previous fight and then kind of have faith in them to look good in their next fight. And that's because in this fight, in this situation, Thomas Petersen obviously lost his UFC debut, but we see all the time, guys. People will win on Dana White Contender Series, come into the UFC, they're not ready, they lose that fight, but in that second fight, in that second UFC fight, they actually do look good, and they do have improvements. So it wouldn't shock me to see the former collegiate wrestler in Thomas Petersen at 29 years old come in looking improved, compared to that Jamal Pogues performance, because it's hard to look worse, I'll be honest. And so he's looking to grapple. Well, Thomas Petersen wants to grab Usman, and he wants to get this guy down, right? And he wants to put Usman off his back. And I think he will have success if he does, man. If Thomas Petersen is able to get Usman's shoulder blades both on the mat, I feel like he's going to be winning that round. It's just that, for one, I don't think he's going to finish Usman if he does get him down. It's going to have to be a ground and pound finish, and I just don't think that Usman is going to let him get to an advantageous position. I don't think he's going to get to mount. I don't think he's going to be wrist riding, getting rodden by Petersen in this fight. I feel like Petersen, if he does get Usman down, he's probably going to make it to the end of the round, and then the next round starts on the feet. So then again, we're sitting there like it's like a 50-50 fight. We're kind of worried if we're betting on Petersen because, yes, I know I said Usman doesn't have that one-touch knockout power, but it's just a thing in the back of your head, man. The giant, yoked, black, tatted-up African dude related to Kamaru Usman, like it's scary for sure, but Usman, the game plan's simple. This fight is pretty simple to break down. Usman needs to keep this at range, and he's probably going to win a decision if he does. And then Petersen, he needs to get this fight down. And if he's able to get this fight down once every single round, he's probably going to win this fight. I'm actually going with Petersen in this fight because I'm pretty low on Usman as a fighter. And I feel like there's just more room, more potential for someone like Petersen to win this fight and just really improve in his career in general. Whereas Usman, I feel like I said, is already a finished product. Give me Thomas Petersen to win this fight via decision. And I really think it's going to go off 15, man. I don't see either guy getting finished in this fight. And I wouldn't be shocked, man, if Thomas Petersen's able to ground and pound finish Usman and then, from there have a pretty decent career. So give me the former collegiate wrestler and Thomas Petersen to win that fight via decision. And up next, we have a women's flyweight fight between Luana Carolina and Lucie Pudilova. Luana Carolina comes in as the favorite with a 10-4 record, currently minus 115 on the money line. And Lucie Pudilova comes in as the underdog, currently 14-9 with a minus 105 money line. So a pretty closely lined fight. Depending on which book you look, it could be a pick'em. This line has been on the move, so Carolina was the underdog. I'm upset I wasn't able to get the plus money on Carolina, and then it went to pick'em, and then now she's a slight favorite. So money coming in on Carolina, and I agree with this, guys. I agree with the line movement in this fight. I'm going with Carolina in this fight. Like I said, I wish I could have got plus money in this fight. And it comes down to, I expect a 15-minute striking fight. I believe that Luana Carolina is the crisper, more technical, quicker to the punch striker with a good variety of kicks. But I will say, I got to give credit to Lucie Pudilova because, this is her second run in the UFC. She had a really bad run, got cut, and then went to the regionals, worked her way back into the UFC. And in her second stint, which is now in the UFC, she seems to be using way more grappling, right? So some good judo throws, some good tosses, some good trips along the cage, which always happens in women's MMA. These girls always end up along the cage, grabbing each other in the clinch. And if you're able to have good judo, good body positioning, good awareness of where your weight is, and you're able to throw people down, that's a huge advantage, man. So Carolina's definitely gonna be have to be aware of that from Pudilova, because I really do think that Pudilova will clinch in this fight. And I wouldn't be shocked to see Lucie Pudilova open mat takedown attempt in this fight, and at least try to get Luana Carolina down. But actually, I do more so think it's more likely we see a 50-minute striking fight between both these girls. And if that's the case, I'm going with Luana Carolina, man. I don't know, real fast, guys, you have to know this. I don't know what is going on with this weight class. I'm not sure if this is at flyweight or strawweight, but either way, I really don't care. I think Luana Carolina is going to win this fight. She should be the technically smaller girl, but Luana's always missing weight. So, I mean, she's a big girl in her own right. So, hopefully she doesn't have to cut more weight, or she's going up, or if Lucie's going down, maybe that affects her weight cut. So, just one of those weird things. But I'm going with Carolina in this fight. Like I said, the last fight, 2 decisions back to back. That's one thing I got to mention, guys. I think that this card might take 6 hours to finish, because I'm expecting a ton of decisions on this card, and this is one of them. So give me Luana Carolina to win via decision, and I actually have money on this fight. I have Luana Carolina 1.1 units to win one. I took her at minus 110. I felt like I had to jump in before the line got blown out even more. And like I said, I'm kind of upset I didn't get plus money, but I just think that she's more physical, more athletic, and quicker than Lucie Pudilova, with better striking and good enough defensive grappling to keep this upright, or even get up if she does get taken down from Lucie Pudilova. So I expect Lucie to try to mix in some grappling, especially at the end of the rounds, but I think that Luana Carolina is going to have her on volume, have her on technique, and have her on damage. Lucie Pudilova doesn't wear damage the best. She gets marked up pretty easily. Give me Luana Carolina via decision. Oh, man, this one's a banger, man. This one is a good fight. Oh, wow, we have a little bit of line movement on this fight. We have a lightweight fight between Radzhabov and Trey Ogden. Loik comes in with an 18-5 record, or 18-5-1 record, now currently the underdog at minus 105, whereas Trey Ogden comes in as a favorite now with a 17-6 record, currently minus 115. So this line has been going up and down, up and down. It was a pick'em for the most part throughout the week, but now clearly on your screen right here, you can see Trey Ogden getting pushed to a slight favorite, and I get it. I understand. I'm, for one, not touching this fight. A pretty risky fight, in my opinion, depending on who you bet. Let's start with Trey Ogden. So Trey Ogden's 34 years old, which at first I was like, dang, that's, not a great look, but Loik's 33, so not that crazy older than his opponent here, but to me, Trey Ogden is a more well-rounded fighter in this fight. I believe that Trey Ogden is going to have to be able to withstand the power from Loik, because Loik can crack. On the other side of your screen, the underdog here, Loik, I mean, he has heavy hands, right? So he's going forward, crazy forward pressure, and he's bringing it, right? And that's actually why I think helps Trey Ogden a little bit in this fight. I feel like Trey Ogden's going to be able to time overextension from Loik and duck under here and get him down. If he keeps this at range for 15 minutes, Loik's going to win. Loik's going to win this fight, and he might even knock out Trey Ogden, even though he's never been knocked down in his career in this fight. But I feel like if Trey Ogden gets Loik down, which we've seen him get taken down, his takedown defense isn't the best, then it's going to be Trey Ogden by a landslide, in my opinion. So a very strange fight where I can see the case for both guys, which is why the line is what it is. I'm going with Trey Ogden here in this fight, more experience. It's weird, man. It's so weird. Like, sometimes I have to like throw out a performance and just not think about it and not let it affect my opinion really. And that's the Jordan Levitt fight. Jordan Levitt is a grappler, a wrestler, a jiu-jitsu guy, and he outstruck Trey Ogden. And I'm like, well, how does that happen? Like, how's that ever happen to anybody? But he's better than that. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if it was a weight cut or if he was sick or what happened that night. But Trey Ogden is better than what he did against Jordan Levitt, and since then, has been looking good in the UFC. I will give him that. Whereas Loic has a lot of experience outside the UFC, PFL. Made it to the finals, and like I said, can absolutely crack. This guy can really hurt his opponents at any moment in the fight. But I do think that his over aggressiveness can lead to Trey Ogden ducking under and getting takedowns, or just Trey Ogden getting a clinch, and then from there trying to get a trip takedown, and then obviously having the grappling success. So give me Trey Ogden to win that fight, and that's going to be a banger, man. I'm actually really excited for that fight because I feel like it could, go either way. So when that happens, you would want to, usually take the plus money, but there is no plus money on this fight. Give me Trey Ogden again to win via decision. Other one. And up next, man, we have a women's flyweight fight. We have Miranda Maverick taking on Dione Barbosa. Maverick comes in with a 15-5 record, currently the favorite at -210. While Barbosa comes in with a 7-2 record, currently +175. So the thing you have to know about this fight is that this is a late notice replacement for Maverick. Maverick was supposed to fight Tracy Cortez, who fought last week on the main event against Rose Namajunas. So now in steps in Barbosa on short notice, and I feel like that's baked into the line. On the screen right here, you can see Maverick -210, Barbosa +175. And I feel like if this was just a regular, like, scheduled fight, if they had a full fight camp, both these girls, Maverick would probably be around -180, -175, area. But since you add in the fact that she actually had a training camp, she was training with people like Jasmine Jasdavicius and Rose Namajunas before Tracy Cortez, and the fact that Dione Barbosa didn't have a fight booked, and then now she comes in on short notice, I feel like that is baked into the line, which is why you see a -210 price tag next to Maverick. Because I'll be honest, like, Maverick, it's hard to trust her at juice. It's hard to trust her at -210 or higher, because if she can't get you down, if she can't have the grappling physical advantage over her opponent, it's just not a great look, because she'll dive in, get stuffed, and then out range looks slow. And while Dione Barbosa, I don't believe will be stuffing the takedowns in this fight, she is the bigger girl, and she has good jiu-jitsu and good judo. And like I said in the last women's MMA fight, know your body positioning. If you have awareness of where your body is and how to throw girls, that's just a huge advantage, man, especially in women's MMA. Being able to toss someone and end up on side control is just so advantageous in women's MMA. Obviously dudes too as well, but we see it a ton in women's MMA. And Dione Barbosa is good with her judo, man. She has good judo throws and trips. That's the thing I like about her along the cage, as she's able to get those trips from, like, in the clinch position, and then from there work her jiu-jitsu. On the feet, her boxing's not the best, her hands aren't the best. I like her kicks a lot more than her hands. So, she has that going for her. But Miranda Maverick, for as much as we think that she's just a pure wrestler, her boxing has been developing. Her hands has been, getting better in the UFC so far. And I feel like there were a lot of high expectations for Maverick. And then when she loses fights, like, a lot of people just crap on her. She lost to Blanchfield, got dominated. She lost to Barber in a fight that she should have won. I believe she won that fight, and the judges kind of robbed her in that fight. So a lot of the buzz, a lot of hype has kind of dissipated from Maverick. But I still think that she's going to win this fight. I gotta say, guys, though, you have to be aware, Dione Barbosa is very active off her back with her jiu-jitsu, and while I don't think that she's gonna be able to submit Maverick off her back, I feel like she can use submissions to get up. So just because you throw up a submission doesn't mean you're actually trying to, like, sub the person. A lot of times they'll have to adjust their body and where they are on the mat, and from there you can build to a hip, and get up. And I feel like Dione Barbosa will have no problems giving up her back to roll, to gamble or do something to get out, of a bad position from Maverick. But I do like the wrestling from Maverick. I do think that she's improving in the UFC. She's still young, man, 27 years old, a ton of experience for her age. Give me Maverick via decision in that fight. And I understand why she's -210, but I feel like if it wasn't short notice, she'd be a little bit less of a favorite. And up next, man, a pretty good fight. We have a bantamweight fight between Brian Kelleher and Cody Gibson. Kelleher comes in with a 24-15 record, currently +165 on the money line, and Cody Gibson comes in as a favorite with a 20-10 record, currently -195. Now, I'm going with Cody Gibson in this fight. Feel pretty good about Cody Gibson winning this fight, but he's old, man. Both these guys are ancient for the division, man. We have Cody Gibson coming in at 2-1. A favorite over Kelleher at 36 years old. But then we have Brian Kelleher coming in at 37 years old. At bantamweight, guys, like, Man, that's tough to get behind. Brian Kelleher at this point fought a million times in the UFC. We know what we're gonna get. Strong overhand right, good quick check left hook, and a power guillotine, man. This guy loves jumping guillotine, and he has a lot of faith in it, but I don't think that he's going to be able to submit Cody Gibson. And I actually think that, if anything, Cody Gibson's probably going to submit Brian Kelleher if Brian Kelleher shoots in a lazy takedown attempt on Cody Gibson. Cody Gibson, in theory, should be able to use his tall, lanky reach in this fight to keep Brian Kelleher at range and not get clipped. I will say, the one way I can see Kelleher knocking out Gibson or really hurting Gibson is with the left hook, because I can see Kelleher getting inside on Gibson and getting around guard. I can see Gibson getting his actual hand and hurting Cody. So I know Cody's 36 years old. It's hard to get behind him. But guys, Brian Kelleher had neck surgery and back surgery. So he has a ton of red flags going for him. He's coming off a loss against Cody Garbrandt, which, again, I know he's on a tough run, losing a ton of these fights in a row. But the last three guys that all beat Kelleher would all smoke Cody Gibson. So I just think that the size is going to be hard to deal with for Kelleher. I feel like Cody Gibson has a grappling to hang with Kelleher, especially the jiu-jitsu. And I feel like this is going to go all 3 rounds again, man. I would not be shocked, though, if Gibson submitted Kelleher in this fight. Kind of reminds me of C-Rod and Erosa last week, even though C-Rod's probably a way better grappler than Kelleher. Just more so the frame, like the fact that this guy can shoot in match up with next. So give me Cody Gibson to win that fight. I'm going to go with another decision, guys. That's 4 in a row now to shut the card. So give me Cody Gibson, the favorite, at -195. I do feel like that's wide, but I do think that he's going to win this fight. Give me Cody Gibson to win that fight via decision. Oh, and this one's a banger. We have Jeong Lee and Hyder Amil. Lee comes in as the favorite with an 11-1 record, currently -180 on the money line. Fighting Hyder Amil, the 9-0 prospect, who's also 34 years old, coming in at +150. So right away, 34 years old, 9-0 record. Kind of up there in age, guys. One UFC win, came off a win where he got a pretty favorable matchup in that last fight and looked good doing it. Nothing against the guy. But he's fighting Lee, who's a very good, talented prospect in my opinion. I really like the striking here from Lee. And with this fight, to me, like, I really want to see who takes the center of the octagon. Like, when they say, "Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to fight? Go." Like, they're going to go forward, man. Both these guys have crazy forward pressure. They bring the fight, man. These guys are exciting. This fight is one fight you do not want to miss, guys. Definitely get to the TV for this fight. And I actually think that it's going to be Hyder Amil taking the center of the cage and having Lee be the one circle outside here. But I feel like if Lee does that, and if he does choose to take that route and circle and poke and prod Hyder from the outside, I feel like even then he could still have a lot of success. I like Lee's game overall more than I like Hyder Amil. It's nothing against the guy, It's just that I haven't seen as much from, like, I feel like there's more on Lee than there is on Amil. But, man, this is going to be exciting, man. I will say, when I did the tape, when I finished looking at this fight and then I saw the line, I was surprised to see Lee be this big of a favorite. I did expect Lee to be the favorite, but I didn't expect him to be around -180. Like, when I saw this line, I was like, oh, geez, like, okay, maybe we have a Hyder Amil back here, but I can't do it. I don't want to get in front of Lee in this fight. Neither guy's ever been finished or knocked out in their career. One loss between both guys. It would lead me to believe it's going to go to decision, but I wouldn't be shocked if either guy gets actually finished in this fight. Hyder Amil has a ton of power, really good grappling, and so does Lee. Give me Lee to win this fight again. All prelims going to decision. So it'd be crazy if all these fights so far have gone to decision. It'd be the longest prelim card ever. But I think Lee doesn't, man. I think Lee has enough output, enough good defensive striking, good awareness on the feet, good enough footwork to stay safe from someone like Hyder Amil, who's going to be crashing the pocket, looking to finish him at all moments of the fight. They're going to bring it, guys. This fight is going to be exciting. Give me Lee to win that fight via decision. And kicking off the main card, guys, we have Choi taking on Bill Algeo. Choi comes in with a 14-4-1 record, currently +140 on the money line. He's fighting Bill Algeo, who comes in with a 18-8 record, currently -170 on the money line. And I'm going with the underdog in this fight. I'm picking Choi to win this fight. I don't know if I'm going to be betting this fight. Honestly, probably won't be. And I'll start with Bill Algeo. So Bill Algeo has, the one thing I don't like about him, especially in this fight, is his stance. So he keeps his hands low. Like, he's like flowing in there, right? He has that karate, like sway, that reminds me of Bobby Green. There was someone last week that had it, Charles Johnson, where they'll like kind of like sway their head, kind of stick their head out and sway, and then their hands kind of like come, their punches do come from awkward angles, so that is kind of something you have to deal with if you're fighting them. But man, you make one wrong feint, one wrong read, and you're like getting smacked into someone's path. So I feel like the probability of Choi knocking out or even hurting Bill Algeo in this fight is actually like good. I feel like there's a really good chance that Choi does hurt Algeo in this fight. But Choi, you know, if he gets taken down by Algeo, I feel like Algeo is going to be able to work him on the mat here. Algeo has really, really long limbs. He has a really long frame for the featherweight division. A 6 foot tall 145er. I wouldn't be shocked to see him try to keep Choi at distance, pump that jab out, and stay safe using his lateral footwork. I wouldn't be shocked if Choi is the one chasing the whole fight here, and then Algeo is trying to stick and move, mixing a takedown, secure the round. You know, that would not shock me at all. But at minus 170, I'm not going to do it, man. He's getting up there in age, 35 years old. I mean, I get it. It's only 2 years older than Choi. That's a lot for featherweight, guys. So I like Choi in this fight. I feel like he's going to hurt Algeo and at least take 2 rounds in this fight. But again, guys, I'm going a decision again. I think it goes all 3 rounds. Give me Choi to win this fight via decision. Man, I can't wait for it finished, dude. And it might not happen here. So we have a flyweight fight up next between Cody, Durden, and Bruno Silva. Durden comes in as the favorite with a 16-5 record. 16-5-1 record, currently minus 120. While Bruno Silva comes in with a 13-5-2 record, currently plus 100. So with Cody Durden, I'll start with him, the favorite right here on the left side of your screen. I mean, he's a relentless grappler, man. This is my type of guy, man. He's on you. He's on you like a shadow. The second he grabs you, he's not letting go. If he can lock his hands on you, you're going for a ride, man. He's on you. He's on your back, and he's not letting go. So is desperately trying to get this fight to the ground. Not this fight in general, but like in general, the way he fights. Like he's trying to get you, down. And he's a good grappler and defensively too. So if you go out there and you try to grapple him, he has very good scrambles, man. We saw in the Hadley fight, you know, he was able to withstand a submission threat pretty deep in that fight. And he's just overall really great grappler. His striking is getting there. So, like, it's not, like, crazy, you know, great or anything, but it's not bad. I'm not going to sit here and say Cody Durden can't strike. He can, man. He knows what he's doing on the feet. He knows when to throw. He throws in good combination, has decent low leg kicks. But that's the thing. Bruno Silva comes in, and this dude's stacked, man. This guy is short, built, and just ripped. And the one thing I like about Bruno Silva, and we saw in his last fight, is that he's able just to smack the low leg kicks on his opponents, man. If Cody Durden isn't able to check these kicks, he might be screwed. It's gonna affect his ability to shoot in takedowns if he's only on one foot. So if Bruno Silva comes out here and doesn't throw any leg kicks, man, he is not smart. I feel like that's a clear path for Silva here. It's that right away, right when the fight starts, really go after that lead leg and limit the mobility of Durden. Limit his ability to close in the distance circle, you know, and then shoot it on you because, man, like, they're powerful, man. Bruno Silva can crack as well, man. This guy has heavy hands. Like I said, he is absolutely built. Cardio does worry me, especially when you're fighting someone with the pace of Durden. But Silva has very good knockout power, very good output, and he has really good jiu-jitsu, man. If Cody Durden sticks his head in there in the wrong place, man, Bruno Silva is going to jump Gilly, man. He's going to try to submit Cody Durden, and I wouldn't be shocked if he, like, is okay off his back, man. If Bruno Silva gets put on the mat, if both his shoulder blades are on the mat, he's getting pinned, I don't foresee him panicking, man. I don't think Cody Durden's gonna be able to pass his guard, get an armbar, you know, get a triangle or anything like that. I just feel like Cody Durden's gonna accumulate a lot of control time. I feel like Cody Durden's gonna be able to use his grappling to accumulate control time and win a decision. Whereas I feel like if Bruno Silva takes on Cody Durden, he's gonna be able to get to the back, get to the triangle, and get a rear naked choke or something like that. Where, you know, more offensively trying to finish the fight from the grappling, whereas Cody Durden is trying to control you and you know, make you tired and then kind of dominate you. Man, this is a good fight. This is a good fight. I'm going with the underdog here. I'm going with Bruno Silva in this fight. I just think that he's capable enough to stuff the takedowns from Durden, and even if he does get taken down, I feel like he's good enough to get up. So give me Bruno Silva to win a decision in that fight. But this one, I know it's a flyweight fight. We don't only see smaller guys, you know, getting finishes like that at, you know, in this weight class. I feel like it's probable, man. I feel like this would not shock me if it doesn't go the distance. Give me Bruno Silva to win a decision, though. Official pick is Silva via decision. Up next, we have a lightweight fight between Holobaugh and Kaynan Krushewsky. Holobaugh comes in with a 21-8 record, currently plus 110 on the money line, while Kaynan comes in with a 15-2 record, currently minus 130 on the money line. I'm just butchering that dude's name. Yeah, so this is an interesting fight because I'll start with Holobaugh right here on the left side of your screen, the underdog here. I think he's good, man. I think he's a good overall, well-rounded fighter with good grappling and good offensive striking. What's weird to me is that obviously he's super old, right? 37 years old here, Final Ultimate Fighter, and in his last 2 UFC fights, The win against Austin Hubbard was a really good performance, man. He looked really good in that fight. Austin Hubbard's a quality opponent, man. That was a very good win. And I came away from that fight looking like, okay, yeah, like Kurt Holobaugh, is gonna do something here with this second stay in the UFC. Was an Ultimate Fighter, like I said, and he deserves it, man. This guy's a really good fighter. But then he comes out the next fight against Trey Ogden, who we talked about earlier in the card, and he looked horrible, man. He looked terrible. And that's just what's so weird, man. The contrast between one performance and the other, it's pretty significant here. And what worries me is that he's also 37 years old, so he's fighting a guy that has a lot of finishing potential here in Kaynan Krushewsky, who comes in after getting finished himself. Man, Kaynan got absolutely bodied in his last fight against Ellis Brenner on short notice, though. So he was a guy that won on Dana White Contender Series and then got asked to fight a short notice fight against a very dangerous guy in Ellis Brenner, a month later. So while he did get finished right, he didn't look good. I kind of want to give him a little bit of a break there because it was on 4 weeks' notice, and you're not going to say no to the UFC making a UFC debut after winning the Dana White Contender Series fight. But he's still, like, I don't want to say like not good or anything, but he's good, right? I like the tape from him. He does a lot of good output, a lot of good striking, very dangerous on the feet, really good jab. But I will say he does the thing that Poirier does as well, jumping guillotine too much. I mean, guys, I just don't like it when fighters do that. It's kind of like, I don't say red flag, but it's just kind of something that puts me off from betting them. You just don't want to do that. You don't want to pull guard, lay on your back. Because if you don't get it, for one, you're on your back, now the guy's in full guard. And two, man, you're probably going to burn your arms. You're probably going to burn your arms trying to go for that choke. And then it's the likelihood of you finishing that guy at the UFC level. It's just not high. So, and then especially someone like Kurt Holobaugh, man. Kurt Holobaugh definitely knows what he's doing in the grappling realm here. He should have the striking here to compete with Kaynan here. But what worries me is just the physical attributes, man. He's 37 years old, that lightweight. There's just so many weight cuts for your lifetime, And his face has a lot of scar tissue, man. Nothing against the guy, but he gets marked up, gets cut pretty easily. And this younger guy, finally has a full camp. And I wouldn't be shocked to see improvements, from Krushewsky here in this fight. This is a dangerous fight, man. Like, whichever side you feel strongly about, let me know. This fight and who else? There's another fight where they're like one of my hardest fights to get a good read on. This one, I'm completely passing from a gambling perspective. I'm rooting and picking Kurt Holobaugh, the underdog in this fight, but I absolutely would not be shocked to see Krushewsky here win this fight with relative ease. So give me Holobaugh, man. I think he's going to be able to stay at range and win on volume here and not get hurt by Krushewsky here. And if anything, I wouldn't be shocked to see him offensively try to grapple and offensively try to get down Krushewsky, or if Krushewsky's in the clinch, jumps guillotine on the cage and ends up on bottom. So a tough fight to get behind, man. 37 years old at 155. Hard to bet on the guy. Give me Kurt Holobaugh. Give me Kurt Holobaugh via decision. Up next, we have a banger of a fight, guys. The best fight on the entire card, in my opinion. The fight I'm looking forward to most to watching. We have a featherweight fight between Steve Garcia and Seung-Woo Choi. Garcia comes in with a 15-5 record, currently the favorite at -150, while Seung-Woo Choi comes in with an 11-6 record, currently +125. So I'll start with Garcia here. So this is going to be a banger. Garcia is a wrestler who's falling in love with his hands. This guy has crazy power recently in his UFC run here. Crazy knockout streak. He is dropping people left and right with his hands. But that's the thing. That's the reason why I like him and why I might bet him in this fight, is I actually like the fact that he can wrestle, man. He has shown in his UFC run to be able to get guys down and control them in the UFC. One red flag, one little mark you can mark on the guy is that I don't know if he's really Mexican. His chin is a little bit suspect. We've seen him hurt in the UFC. We've seen him get rocked. And like I said, man, I don't know if he's really Mexican. That chin doesn't hold up. I do worry that he is a little bit quote-unquote chinny, but man, this guy lately has been absolutely cracking people, and the fact that he can wrestle mixed in with this game plan here, I really like it from the guy. So a big featherweight, a 6-foot-tall featherweight here. I wouldn't be shocked to see him miss weight. He has missed weight before. And like I said, he's a pretty big guy for the division, but so is Seung-Woo Choi. Seung-Woo Choi on the other side of the underdog here, another 6-foot-tall 145er, just crazy. And a very good fighter as well, a very dangerous striker here as well. And that's the thing with this fight, man. Someone is getting the business, man. Someone's getting served in this fight. I feel like Steve Garcia is going to be able to land some big shots on Choi. Well, that's the thing. In a 50-50 fight where I think it's going to be close on the feet, both guys have finishing ability, finishing power on the feet. The ability to sway around with one shot from both guys here can happen. But to me, it's the fact that, similar to Trey Ogden earlier in the card, I can see a world where Choi overextends and Garcia is able to time a good takedown and duck under and get this guy down. It's one of those fights where I feel like it's relatively close, relatively chaotic, honestly, in the exchanges here. And that's a pretty volatile fight. But the fact that Steve Garcia can slow it down, the fact that he can get this guy down and perceive, have a grappling advantage in this fight makes me lean to Steve Garcia, man. I really like the kid. I know I was talking about his chin and everything, but I was really joking. Choi's a good fighter in his own right, man. A very good boxer and striker. He's looking to finish Garcia in this fight. I think for once we finally see a finish in this fight. I don't care about the new gloves. We are in the small octagon in the Apex, so we're going to be, seeing a ton of action. Not a lot of room to work in this octagon. Man, they're going to be throwing down. The exchanges are going to be crazy, man. My heart's going to be racing during this fight. Someone's going to get put down, in my opinion. I'm going with Steve Garcia to win this fight. I'm picking him to win via ground and pound finish in that second round. And in a fight that's almost a complete opposite, we have a middleweight fight between Brad Tavares and Jeong Park. Tavares comes in with a 20-10 record, currently the underdog at plus 140, while Jeong Park on the right side of your screen comes in with a 17-6 record, currently minus 170 as the favorite. Now, the reason why I say it's the opposite of the last fight is because I don't foresee either guy getting finished. Both these guys are super durable, especially Brad Tavares. And I do think that this is going to go all 15. But I got to say, I was surprised to see Park be the favorite. Earlier in the week, I saw him at minus 180. So right there on the screen, you can see minus 170. A little bit of money coming in on Tavares here. And I agree, man. I'm going with Tavares, the underdog, to win this fight. And it comes down to the fact that I think that he's going to be able to stay upright on the feet. Tavares, one thing that's really good about him is his takedown defense, right? Everyone's going to shoot in on him, try to get him down. But he has shown throughout his UFC career to be able to withstand takedowns from very good grapplers, and then keep it at range. And then from there, that's going to be a more so a relatively close fight. If he does get taken down, man, Park's going to win this fight. Park, if he's able to utilize his grappling here and get Tavares down at least once in every single round, he should win a decision in this fight. It's just that I don't think it's going to happen. Jeong Park's been winning a lot of his fights recently with the grappling, with the ability to finish the fight once he does get the opponent down. But on the feet, I don't really see a huge gap. I don't see a minus 170 gap on the feet from Park, over Tavares in this fight. I know Tavares coming off getting, a tough loss against, I'm blanking his name, the Brazilian guy, RoboCop. And before that, he had Chris Weidman on like one leg and he couldn't finish him. So that was very bad luck in my opinion, even though we bet on him and he won us our money in that fight. But man, I just don't see Tavares getting finished. I feel like he's going to be able to keep this fight at range, at distance. And then from there, I line it closer to a minus 125. Park, definitely not minus 170 or minus 200. Like, I think it's going to be a close fight. I think that Tavares wins the decision here in this fight. Man, someone's going to need a significant moment. Someone's going to need someone to get dropped, a cut, or something to sway the fight their way, because I feel like it's going to be close, man. I feel like there's a razor sharp fight or a close fight, and it all comes out of the grappling of Park. Can Park, the Iron Turtle, go in there and take down Tavares here? So that's really the question in the fight. So give me Tavares to win this fight, to defend those takedowns, and if it ends up being a clinch fest, just him getting held along the cage the whole fight, man, we'll take it. Like, it's just, not the most exciting type of style you want to see, but we'll see, man. So give me Tavares to get separation, to stay on his feet, and to have a 50-minute striking affair with Park in a fight where I think he has enough output and lands enough damage to win a decision. So I know he's getting up there in age, 36 years old. I have to mention that. He's a little old, guys, and if he drops off a cliff out of nowhere, suddenly his chin's completely gone, I'll be surprised. So I don't think it's going to happen. Give me Tavares to win via decision. Now, up next, we have a women's strawweight main event, guys. And if you haven't already, man, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment, guys. We need to boost that algorithm. Roast me in the comments if you think I'm talking crazy. If you're agreeing with me, let me know what you think I said right. And don't be afraid to let me know who you're betting on, man. I'm free to hear your bets, like who you have your locks and all that type of stuff. Like, even though I don't think there's such thing, let me know who you have in the comments, man. I love to chop it up with you guys. So in the main event, we have Amanda Lemos taking on Verna Jandiroba. Amanda Lemos comes in as the underdog with a 14-3-1 record, currently plus 120 on the money line. And Verna Jandiroba comes in as the favorite with a 20-3 record, currently minus 140. And we'll start with Rob Schneider here on the right side of your screen. Verna Jandiroba, pretty basic fight, right? So a grappler in Jandiroba versus a striker in Lemos. Grappler versus striker, classic scenario, right? If Verna Jandiroba is able to get Lemos down, if she's able to grab Lemos, she's going to strangle her. Like, she's going to take her back and then choke her out. I don't know if it's going to happen right away or if it's going to happen throughout the fight. But that's the plan. Verna Jandiroba is trying to take down Lemos. Verna Jandiroba is going to go in there with 2 knee pads, guys. Like, she's going to try to grapple. And then Lemos on the other side, the Brazilian on the left side of your screen, she's going to be looking to, stay on her feet. The floor is lava in this fight, because if she's able to withstand these takedowns and keep this at range, her speed, her power is just worlds ahead of Verna Jandiroba. I really feel like Lemos is live to decapitate Verna Jandiroba earlier in this fight. Rounds 1, rounds 2, maybe round 3. I wouldn't be shocked if Lemos sleeps Verna Jandiroba, but that's the problem I have picking or betting Lemos. It reminds me of Charles Oliveira, guys. If you hurt Jandiroba. If Lemos lands a clean shot on Jandiroba and she back, like, it's dangerous for Lemos to just go in there and bum rush and finish, because Jandiroba has crazy good jiu-jitsu, guys. Like, she can sweep, like, Lemos at any moment. If she's getting ground pound finish, she can catch an arm, snatch up a triangle. Like, that is very, like, a real possibility. Or, like, Charles Oliveira, man, Justin Gaethje was the first one to realize, like, hey, if I drop this guy, I'm just gonna let him back up, because I'm gonna drop him again, even though he got finished in that fight as well. So I don't, like, first of all, I'm not comparing Oliveira to Jandiroba as a fighter. I'm just saying the ability to get dropped and then still be a threat from your back. So that's going to be what's weird to me. Like, in the best case, if you're betting on Lemos, best case scenario, like, you hurt Verna Jandiroba and she drops, right? That's like the best thing that could happen. But then it's like a mind, like, well, I'll say mind fuck. Like, to rush in is going to be dangerous here. Like, we've seen Lemos go against better grapplers here and then get choked, you know, pretty bad. In her last fight against Durden, I had Durden, and that might be one of the worst bets I ever bet. Durden is just terrible. Like, she's horrible at this point in her career, and she can't wrestle. And even Durden was able to get down Lemos twice, which is very bad luck. Man, if you look at the statistics, man, a lot of these fighters are taking down Lemos, so that's a very bad look against someone like Verna Jandiroba. It's one of those things, guys, where one takedown per round might secure the round for Verna Jandiroba. Like, it's hard for me to see this fight going all 5 rounds. I feel like this is not going to go the distance because the gap, man, in skill. The gap in Lemos' striking compared to Jandiroba is huge. The gap in grappling from Verna Jandiroba to Lemos is huge. So it just depends on, like, what do you think is going to happen? I feel like it's more likely that Jandiroba grabs Lemos than it is that Lemos lands flush and sleeps Verna Jandiroba. So you would think I'd be picking Verna Jandiroba, but I am not. I'm actually going with Lemos to win this fight. I know she's almost 40 years old, guys. She's 37 years old, but so is Verna Jandiroba. She is 36. And I actually, hot take, guys, I think that Jandiroba will be getting tired earlier in this fight than Lemos. We've seen in her 3rd round, her output, her speed isn't the best from Jandiroba, but same thing with Lemos. Like, I'm not going to say here and say that Lemos is some sort of like crazy cardio guy, like, or girl. Like, she has suspect cardio as well, but I just think that a tired Jandiroba is going to be way more vulnerable than a tired Lemos here. Man, if Jandiroba puts her hands on Lemos and grabs her, it could be a wrap, guys. Like, she is a shadow. She is on you when she grabs you. A very good grappler. So, a highly volatile fight. I'm going with the striker here. Classic striker versus grappler, like I said. Plus money at plus 120, man. I don't mind it. So, give me Lemos. Give me Lemos via finish. I'm going to go with a knockout finish in that 3rd round. And I just don't think it goes the distance. I think whichever fighter you pick here, you know, is probably going to get a finish here. So, give me Amanda Lemos to win this fight, to win via finish in that 3rd round, which should cap off a pretty fun and pretty high contested fight night card, you know, for the rest of us. So that'll be it, guys. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you think about the show so far. I've been thinking about adding some recaps. So, like, I know I don't talk about my bets because usually on Tuesday when I record, I only have like 1 or 2 bets. Like, for this card, I only have 1 bet so far. I have Luana Carolina. I'm thinking about Steve Garcia. I'm thinking about Maverick. Even though everyone's telling me that line's wide, I still think she's gonna win the fight. So I'm looking at those 3 fighters right now. I already have 1, and even Lemos at plus money. I don't think that's a crazy terrible bet. But we're down 20 units, guys, so we have to be really strict on our bets the rest of the way. And so I'm thinking about either in the beginning of the videos putting how we did last week, if you guys want to, if interested, or if you guys just want me to go right into the fights and then I'll do them at the end. So let me know what you think, if I should do my betting recap at the beginning of the show or if I should do it at the end of the show, because I definitely want to add that part to the show because I want you guys to see how I'm thinking about the fights, how I'm looking at the fights, how I'm, you know, seeing results and how they played out and stuff like that. So that's it for the video, guys. We're back next week for pay-per-view. We're in London or the UK or wherever. Leon Edwards finally is going to fight Bilal Muhammad after Bilal Muhammad's been crying for like 5 years to get this fight. And then Tom Aspinall, Curtis Blades, man. Paddy Pivot, Bobby Green. It's a good card, man. So we have a good pay-per-view. And then after that, Corey Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov. That card is actually super stacked as well. So even though this card isn't the best, the next 2 are absolute bangers. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.